Hello everyone, my name is Kasia Jaronczyk and the title of my book is Voices in the Air, published by Palimpsest Press this year 2025. My novel begins in the winter of 1981 in Poland when martial law was just announced by General Jaruzelski and high-ranking military officials. People have been organizing marches and strike in protest of the living conditions, a scarcity of food and basic necessities. Solidarity unions were formed and the Soviets felt like they were losing grip on Poland. Almost immediately, the military police started arresting Solidarity Union members, telephone lines were cut, radio and TV stations were deactivated, schools and universities were closed, workers' unions suspended, and also the borders were closed. During the 2 years of martial law, there were 16 attempted hijackings by regular people, and 10 of them were successful. My book tells the story of 5 women who attempted to hijack a Polish airplane to escape to West Berlin. There were 2 mothers with children, a flight attendant in love with a pilot, 14-year-old girl who claimed to have seen the Virgin Mary, and an ambitious young female filmmaker. I follow their stories in the future after the airplane lands. I'm gonna read an excerpt which is from the viewpoint of the teenage girl during the hijacking. People had gotten up from their seats. They ran up and down the aisle, bumped into and grabbed each other. Limbs and bodies seethed between the seats. Men groaned and fought. I looked for Anya and I couldn't see her. I stood in the middle of the aisle not knowing what to do. A man with his arm raised, a can of bottle of something in his hand, ran yelling towards me. I stepped back and hit a door. There was nowhere to run. I pulled on a small handle and banged on the door with my fists. Someone opened it at the same moment as the man rammed into me and pushed both of us inside. He then locked the door behind him. We're in the cockpit. I stared at the rows of dials, their dark faces painted with lines and numbers. It looked like a time machine, all these clocks showing different hours and minutes. My head was spinning. A box bristled with levers and bolts like a strange robotic hedgehog between the pilot seats. The ceiling was filled with pulleys and things that hang down like metallic stalactites. In front of us, windows, and beyond them, a flat gray emptiness. It was quieter here. The noises outside seemed distant. I staggered against one of the seats. Don't touch anything, one of the pilots said. The other one was Anya's lover, Łukasz. He looked at me and frowned. He was about to say something when the man behind me yelled, "This is a hijacking." He started to spray the knockout gas inside the cockpit. "Not on the pilots," the navigator shouted. "Are you insane?" The man with the can stopped. "Right," he said. "No one is going to get hurt. We just want you to fly to Nuremberg. We are not terrorists, we are not hijackers. We are," he paused, looking for the right words, "we are air partisans." Łukasz sneered. The navigator, the man with the headphones, looked up from a map and said, "We don't have the flight instructions or enough fuel. We can fly to Tempelhof, an airport in West Berlin." The air partisan nodded and wiped the sweat beading between the wet strands of his comb-over. West Berlin? I was shocked. I knew all about the wall. It protected us from the consumerism and the decadence of the West. In the West, people were immoral. They were obsessed with money and sex. They did not value family, nor did they respect their governments. It was the land of the Nazis and their descendants, who, as I gathered from school and my grandmother's stories, were monsters and looked as such in my imagination. I fell to the floor. Warm wetness seeped through my clothes. The second pilot opened a little seat hidden in the wall and pulled me up on it. He used a map to fan my face and told me to keep my eyes open, but all I wanted was to sleep. The navigator whispered something into the microphone, and the air partisan pulled his headphones out of the socket so he could hear what was going on. The air control was asking if they could lie to the hijackers and fly them to the Schönefeld airport in East Berlin instead. The navigator looked up at the hijacker, who shook his head. "They have a gun," the navigator said, even though in the cockpit no one had any weapon except a can of paralyzing gas. During this exchange, people were shouting and banging on the cockpit door. The hijacker kept pulling on the door, which was stuck. The pilots were busy steering the airplane in the new direction.